Hi friends, I'm Mackenzie, also known as Emtothethird, and I run Emtothethird Yard Co., where I naturally dye yarn and sell it and design knitting patterns and other like knitting paraphernalia like stitch markers and stickers that are knitting themed. And I wanted to do a monthly studio vlog to kind of show just what the process is like, give you a little insight into what running a yarn business looks like, especially because it's out of my house and I still have a like part-time job other than yarn. So yeah, this is just a way for me to kind of show you what my process is like and, you know, invite you into the rest of the stuff that I do on a daily basis. So I've got a pretty big to-do list right now. We're sort of starting knitting season. The summer is slow for knitting businesses, but now yeah, it's like really time to kind of amp everything up. So today what I've got to do is to start preparing some yarn for a wholesale order, and then I'm also experimenting with a few different methods for getting gray with natural dyes. So I'm going to take you along on that process and sort of explain the importance of doing it the way that I'm doing it. And then I've got to do the very fun part of designing, which is spend some time with Excel spreadsheets. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of have you along on my day with me, because I do work from home and I dye yarn in my kitchen on my stove because I need a heat source. The first step is the very fun part of just like picking up my kitchen and making sure all the food is put away, all the surfaces are clean, the sink is clean, so it's not too bad right now. But some mornings it's worse than others. So yeah, I'm gonna put on an Agatha Christie novel that I just downloaded because I'm like definitely feeling the spooky feels, and yeah, take you along on the ride. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll check in later. Hi, hello. So I thought I would start by showing you what I'm going to be using to attempt to get varying degrees of gray. Not quite 50 shades, thank God. So the first thing I have is my dye notebook, where I just keep as good of record of my experiments and, you know, different batches as I can. And then I've got this tannin liquid from Botanical Colors, and it's made from oak galls, which is great. So their liquid extracts are basically just a super saturated amount of dye stuffs that have been like boiled down into a thick paste. So then I have my yarn, which is my DK weight yarn, liminal. And I've fashioned these like dye rings out of like copper refrigerator wire and plastic tubing. You can find them at like any hardware store. And then I also have these really cool new like small beakers that allow me to take measurements of liquid with more accuracy. So they measure in like milliliters in addition to teaspoons and tablespoons, which I don't always find to be as accurate as I want when I'm doing experiments like this. I am going to be dyeing 3 batches based off of a blog article that Botanical Colors posted. I also like to have these measuring cups and the spoon to mix the dye liquid with boiling water before adding it to the yarn. And so this is what the yarn looks like. You can see that the one that's on the screen doesn't have that big of a color difference, but this one does. Isn't that nuts? And then I'll pull the one with the most amount of the tannin liquid over. There's not a huge difference between these two, which is definitely something I noted even after I apply the iron. So the amount of tannin liquid that I used, and this is usually how I'll start any sort of dye experiment and colors, is by going to one of the books that I reference a lot, or going online and finding basically like a starting point, and then from there I can experiment with more or less. I decided to put all 3 of the batches of yarn into one pot to do the iron bath in, and that's because I have one pot that is actually rusted on the bottom. It's not rusted through, and like I make sure that the spots won't like actually get onto the yarn, but I've sort of made that my iron pot for better or worse. So what I'm going to do is add a pretty low percentage of an iron dye bath to this yarn so that I can get the gray color that I am looking to achieve. So that's what you'll see here, and you will see that the iron bath looks pretty cloudy, and again, that's because of the rust on the bottom. And drum roll, please. This is the final reveal after I added the iron bath to some heat and just brought it up very, very slowly. Iron can cause damage to the wool, so I really want to just like very slowly and with not much heat bring that heat up. But I'm pretty stoked with how these grays turned out. The 2 that I had the most amount of the tannin liquid in turned out basically the same. So I think I probably need to leave it in the iron for a little bit longer. So I'll do that next time. But for this first time, I'm super happy with how they turned out. If you want to know more of the specifics, like how much dye I used, please leave a comment down below. I just kind of wanted to do an overview and not necessarily a tutorial, but if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know.